Well, good afternoon. Welcome to 4-H Shooting Sports Coordinator Coffee, one that was postponed, where we are figuring out how do we recruit people into 4-H shooting sports in a way that helps them find their spark. And so we're hearing a lot about the spark research, and a lot of the reason that young people come to 4-H is because they want to learn about a spark that they have. So when you look at this picture back in 2005, this was a 4-H recruitment event. And so we have mom here who's brought her two sons. One is too young for 4-H shooting sports, and the other one is really, really excited. Doesn't he look excited? So when you look at this picture and think about this first night that they walked in, how would we help this young man find his spark? This was at a 4-H archery recruitment event. Any ideas of what would need to happen next? Well, while you guys think about that, we'll go on to what are we talking about with recruiting today then? So the key points here are about starting from within, how to keep it simple, to not make it too complicated, and then enlisting others and going to the outside, which that means the outside audience, and then how hospitality and mentoring pay off. And one thing that Erica answered, and how do we get Connor in the 4-H shooting sports, is to ask him questions. Absolutely. Engage with some questions. Simple things like, what's your name? Definitely would help. So the first one is to start from within. So in order to build a successful 4-H shooting sports program, we need the volunteers. So the big thing is in your practices, at your club meetings, use your parents. Could they serve as a range officer while you serve as the coach? Could they be in charge of commands while you are working on the line with the kids? Could you ask them to take pictures of different things, such as if you are going to practice stance that night or having feet shoulder width apart? Could you ask them to take a picture of each one on the line? So then you would have that to go back and review with the young people. And then the other big part that you see in the picture here is when you have a concept that you have taught, in order to really become good at it, our young people can teach it. And so at the end of an archery practice here, what we have is the young people going on the line and coaching their parent that are at practice with them. And so we just took the last 5 minutes of practice and went ahead and had them come up and teach their parent what to do. And this was actually a beginner archery class in that picture. The other part about starting from recruiting within is about their friends. So either have a bring a friend event where it's a young person that's already participating and you ask them, hey, everybody bring a friend night, bring a cousin, whoever you have. Or you can also do the friend watch. So they can have special tickets or invitations, like if you have a competition, to come watch at the competition. So those are some ideas on how to recruit from within. Now, when we start talking about keeping it simple, the thing we want to do is make sure that we have the vision to even start with. What are we recruiting to? Is it to a specific discipline? Is it to a club? But whatever that vision is, make sure that you share it, because recruiting is not a one person's job. So therefore, you want to make sure that you get people on board. What I did that Shannon shared is give a couple of reliable parent volunteers or older youth in the club a copy of the shooting sports STEM curriculum and ask them to consider leading some fun activities from the STEM curriculum. That is a great idea. And it'll engage the little bitties, as Shannon says, the ones that are too young for 4-H shooting sports, who tag along to the meetings, as well as the kids who aren't on the line. Thank you for sharing that. So next, in keeping it simple, is we want the people to actually use their talents or resources. So if you look at the picture on the right, where you can kind of see the Hamilton County and the 4-H Clover, and then the picture on the bottom, this was a leader who is not certified, but definitely wanted to help recruit and grow the program. And so he set up a Nerf gun range, and they are shooting wiffle balls off of tees. And then he also has some targets that move. And that's the talents that he had. That's resources that he had at home. Even the green carpet that you see on the ground are all things that he took ownership of and set up this whole booth. So find out what those talents and resources are and use them. And then up on the upper left is a hunting skill station, which they identified bones and furs and things like that. And it didn't involve shooting in there, but yet it was still the hunting skills project. And again, there's a leader that took this on, set it up, and had it ready to go. So get those people on board, find out what their talents are, what their resources are, and then of course your extension staff. Extension staff wants to bring as many young kids into 4-H as you do, and they want to help you be successful as a volunteer. So what is it that they could bring? Could they be there to talk about 4-H or how to join or walk people through if you use like a 4-H online system to enroll? So keep it simple because it is not, doesn't have to be a one-man show. So people do amazing, responsible experiences when they are given the opportunity to do so. So the best thing to know is that it's okay for you personally not to have to connect with everybody. The best connection is the person that is most like them. And so when you look at the young man over on the right, who is leading the fire s'more pit at our recruitment event, he's the best person because he's been through shooting sports to talk to those youth. Versus as an adult, what I might focus on, the kids might not care about. But usually the parents will want to connect with another adult. And so then having a parent available at that same time. And then make sure you define that role for them, but let them take ownership. And one way you can do this is, you are successful if. And when I was talking to the young man in the orange vest on the right, I'm like, you're successful if you have more hot dogs ate than what fell in the fire pit. And so if you watch a recruitment video that we'll link at the end of this, you'll notice that's my question to him when I'm interviewing him during the event. And then you look at some of these other people here, the lady in the purple sweatshirt in the back row, her job was food that night. And she got to set up the kitchen the way she wanted to. She got to figure out how the order was going to be. And again, you're successful if people had full tummies. And however she did that was up to her. Or the people on the archery range, you're successful if young kids are safely picking up that bow and getting on the target. So just let them know how is it that you're going to be successful? How will you know? And then give them the ownership to take it on for any type of recruitment event. The next tip is to going to the outside audience, so people outside of 4-H. The first thing is know what your purpose is. Why are you recruiting these young people in? Is it to grow your club numbers? Is it a specific discipline? Is it to get more information out there about natural resources? Know that purpose before you go to that outside audience. And then when you start framing how you're going to do this, look at it from their perspective versus your perspective. And so when you look at the sawhorses here in the picture, we just had sawhorses there and realized that those might not be something that catches a kid's attention. And so the people that were setting up this area put the pumpkins on there knowing that, the youth would pay attention to where the pumpkins are. So then the range rules are right below that pumpkin. So look at things from their perspective instead of your perspective. And then make it sure that it's experiential. We know that 4-H is about doing. And so having an informational meeting, it's a great idea to throw a lot of information at people, but it's not a great idea to recruit people into 4-H. And if you want that information to stick, let them experience it. So when recruiting, create an experience instead of just an informational meeting. Because the last tip is tell them what they need to know when they need to know it. They don't need to know a week before what the range rules are. They do need to know a week before that hair has to be tied back. They need closed-toed shoes. And if they have to wear long pants. So tell them that the week before, but then the night they come to the actual range, that's when you review range rules. The next huge part is now that you actually have people there recruited in, keeping them recruited is huge. And so having some type of a greeter, and it doesn't matter if this is a 4-H club practice, if it is a big recruitment event, or just kind of even on the phone or on the internet, have a greeter that's going to be there and that they know there's kind of this point person that people can go to with questions. Name tags are huge. Anytime that we can call a person, whether it's a parent or a youth, by their name, if we're going to be interacting with them and we're going to ask our team, all those people we brought on the bus with us for this recruitment, make sure that name tags are provided. Doesn't have to be fancy. My favorite is a roll of white duct tape. Write their name on it, tear it off, and then we can give it to them. When setting up for an event like this, think about your spectators. Think about where you're going to put chairs. So if you have parents that are going to be watching this young lady with the pistol shoot, where are they going to sit in a way that you are helping them be close to other parents and start some conversations, because then they have the parent support too. And then also follow up. Make sure that, like in this case, at the sign-in table over on the right, everybody wrote down email address when they signed in. And then we sent out a follow-up email saying, thank you for attending. Christmas is coming up. We know a lot of you are thinking about gifts. If you like some of the equipment tonight, here's the equipment that was used and where you can purchase that at. Also, we have this equipment already available. And then now we're starting to send out, this is when our beginner classes for each of the disciplines happen. So make sure that you're ready to follow up. Because we have Connor, who in 2005 walked into a 4-H shooting sports archery recruitment event. And if you look at 10 years later, Connor is a successful 4-H junior leader. He is leading a whole activity amongst his peers. And these are the life skills that we are able to build when we help young people find their spark. So with that, I would like to invite you guys to share some of your experiences in recruiting young people to your 4-H club or your 4-H program or discipline. Who would like to go first? Baird. So today is our last official coordinator coffee. And what is next is the national committee is meeting next week in San Antonio, Texas. And on their agenda is looking at the potential coordinator coffee. And if it is going to continue or not, or in what fashion or for what audience. And then what is coming though is some of your hosts, including myself and Chandra Plate, we are going to continue a format like this called Shooting Better Scientifically. And it is going to focus on some really simple things that you can do on a monthly basis to include STEM, healthy living, and civic engagement, which are the 3 national mandates into your 4-H club. And so you will be able to sign up with a new Zoom link. Once we get the date set, we will send that out to everybody that was signed up for coordinator coffee in 2021. And you'll be invited to participate in 2022. And so that is what we have planned. And then national committee, anything that we hear out from them, they will be sharing out what they decide to do next with the coordinator coffee format. So does anybody have